Yeah, what I'm asking, don't expect that you will be knowing everything. No, you should have an idea. You have now learned so many concepts which are in React, correct? All I asked you is, okay, how do you implement this game? Which one? TikTok Toy. Yeah, very famous game. Everyone would have played, right? That's all is a game, correct? Just this table, you will have two players. One is X, another one is maybe O or a 0. And let's say 0 only. Yeah, so what I am trying to say, so this is just an example. The thing you have to learn with all the concepts you have learned, now you should start applying, okay? You should start applying how this can actually help you to solve. You have learned so many concepts now, correct? Have you not learned so many concepts now in React? So why did you learn those so many concepts? Now, if you don't apply, even if you learn another 20 concepts, if I go on telling you every day one concept, and if you don't know how to use those concepts in solving some real world problem, okay, solve some real world challenges, real world problem, you will not understand. You will not be able to connect the dots. See, this is like you connecting the dots now actually. Okay, there is one dot here, there is one dot here. You should be able to connect. That is when you will have a meaningful learning. Okay, I can in React, I'll tell you another still 20 concepts are there which we can talk about. Yeah. So remember, it is very important you learn anything. This is how the learning should be. So whatever learning you have done, if at only if at all you apply these concepts to something, you know, something you develop, something you do in terms of real world, you won't be able to remember too many concepts. What is the point in remembering those concepts? Yeah, try to learn how I can apply to solve something. What I've learned now. The other day you listed so many concepts. Remember, whatever concepts you have learned JSX. You have learned creating components. Components are reusable. You have learned props. I can go on telling you actually all the things that you have learned. Now start understanding the problem first thing. So if the problem is known, then try to think how I can actually break down that into React, or how I can do that particular problem into a problem that I can solve in whatever it is. Yeah, it need not be React, okay? So whatever language, it can be even your language specific. Yeah. So now anyone has got a clue? How do we solve it? So far learned concepts are more than enough to solve this game. Yeah, yes, this is a standard game called tic-tac-toe. You all are familiar. Finally, yes, one of them will be a winner. There can be a chance that the game can end up in draw also. Yeah, you see they have different levels also, medium, easy and all that, isn't it? So you can select either of the player. Yeah, let's say you select 0, then yeah, you have to place, isn't it? Now it will end up in a draw, isn't it? Draw. So now, how do you solve this problem? How do you visualize it? How do you first create? So can you tell me how do I create such a kind of board? Yeah, what we have? It's a board, correct? We have a game board here. How do you create that board? I ask you, okay, create a board in React. What do you do it?
Sir, we can implement by using table.
Okay, so easiest option you're choosing. Okay, I'll go with a table tag with three rows and three columns. Correct? TRTD, yeah, three columns. Same way, I'll make three rows and using a table. Okay, okay, this can be one approach. Okay, what else? Next, that's
Next,
how
we
you
can
develop a table. That's how you just make a board. One of the approach. Yes. Then then what? Yeah, this table is drawn. Okay, used all fine. Yeah, you will put some styling. You will apply the border accordingly. Yes, you do not have to be like this only. Even if you just make it three box, so that is more than enough. Yeah, it could be anything like even a closed box is also fine, isn't it? Okay, next you've created like this, and now your board is ready. This is your table, money. This is what you said, correct? With the table,
yes, sir. Yeah.
with the table tag, you will be able to create a board like this. Okay, I'll just choose one without. Yeah, what else? Then tell me next. Okay, so what do you use for creating this table? First thing, what is this feature is called? Yeah, so first thing is in React, you will create a component called, let's say, board. Yeah, you would like to name something as board, and this is a component. And in this component, you will actually now apply the logic of JSX, correct? You will have to write a JSX to create this board, and you got this layout. Yeah, this is perfectly fine. Next, what? What I should do?
Next, we can implement two buttons for X and O.
Yeah, so two buttons we need for for one player, correct? So this game is usually played like okay, human versus computer, or this can be two person sitting next to each other, and they both can play. So to choose what? To choose a player, you are saying we need two buttons, correct? Buttons. Okay, how do you create button? You know how to create, and that is also part of since we are doing it in React. Yeah, it has to go in JSX, correct? So I write some JSX to create two buttons. So which is not enough. I also have to do some event handler, correct? Event handler. Okay, to decide okay who is who is X and who is Y, who is zero. Yeah. Okay, I have done. I've added two buttons. So maybe let's add two buttons. Okay, one person will choose X, another person will choose zero. Fine. Okay, that is also done. Next, and this I'll do it. I'll write some JSX. I'll add event handlers. Yeah. So yeah, that's where now the concept that we have learned event handler is going to be used. Now we have learned JSX, that is also going to be used. You have learned how to create component. Yeah, that syntax also will be revised. Fine. Next.
In props itself, a table 0 and x displaying purpose props unit.
Ah, okay. Rajesh has an idea. But see, for table, how do you pass a props? If it was a component, I will pass, x or 0. Yes, Rajesh. So you're telling via props, I'll pass x and 0 to this as a prop. Correct?
Yes, sir.
But how will you pass? Because these are like Elements. You have chosen elements actually.
Table we can take TR.
TR we can take, but TR doesn't accept any prop, correct? TR is not a component, isn't it? TR is not a component. If you make each cell as a component, let's say, okay, now I'll tell you what you are saying. Let's say I make each cell as a component. Assume I make it as cell only, Rajesh. In that case, it
Yes.
is possible. In that case, it is possible. Okay, it is possible. Yeah, as you said, current, default now the prop value is, okay. Let's say value. Assume it takes a value. So it can be in the range. Okay, it can be empty. It can be x. It can be 0. Yes, you can pass a prop to that particular cell, yeah, base this value, and accordingly, so each of the cells are designed and it is going to display one of this value. Yeah, one of the possible option. Yes. Yeah, and now if you do this, then you are recalling another concept called as props. What are you understanding now? Props. Okay, cell is done. Okay, okay, so you can do like this, or you can even do using table. Yeah. So now let's say if you use cell, then these things should be array of cell components. Yeah, you are supposed to display 3 by 3 matrix, and each cell is actually, I mean, each piece is actually a cell. Yeah, each thing is created as a cell, one cell. And now let's say if you do it as cell, then your event handling also should be added. Correct? Each cell I should handle an event. Correct? How? How?
But
by
clicking.
using on click.
Yeah, I mean, you are going to handle on click. Yeah, that's the event. It's fine. But
Yeah,
then
yeah.
I need an active player. Correct? I need an active player. Correct? How do you model this in React? How do you store this information in React?
Sir, by using reducer.
So why do you need? Okay, yeah, we have discussed use state and use reducer. And do you remember what I told you in the previous class? When do we go for use reducer or when do we go for use state? Do you remember the discussion? So
Yes, sir. Yeah.
the discussion happened in such a way that use state will be used for simple state handling. Use reducer is preferred when I have complex state. So now I am saying I only have to see who is active player. For that, do you think I need a use reducer?
No, sir. Not needed really. We can go with the use state.
So what
Yeah.
is it? So I can just have one state variable, yeah. So where I'll say active player. What is it? Active player or current player. And what is the value it needs to have? It just needs to have, yeah. So initially it needs to have one of the value. Yeah, it should either highlight X or what? It should highlight either X or 0. Accordingly, I can set, okay, which is active player. So which means what? It's a state, it's an information, correct? Who is active player? So for that we have learned state. And this is a additional, another next concept that we have learned in React, which is to store information. Yeah, the present state. I would like to understand what is the present state. So at one time I will set, so if you say presently, one of them will be active, meaning I can initialize with also, like let's say X is active now to start with. As soon as X turn, once he clicks on any of the cell, then X turn is over. Then immediately I can set the state active for what? I can set it to I can set to 0 also, right? I can say using set current player. Can I not set it or like this? As soon as what one click is over, it means I immediately have to turn to another player, because that will be his next turn will be the opposite other players. So, but all in all, yeah, we will use state, and we will also know how to set the state. And again, yeah, here instead of setting update, we can also do another syntax, which is what? Set current player based on the previous state. Remember? Yeah, I would like to understand what is the previous player, and then accordingly I will decide whether it is X or not. Do you remember? Instead of blindly setting it to O, yeah, if it is X, then
Then O,
yeah,
otherwise X.
otherwise X. So we have learned this technique also, correct? It is not always prefer to just write set current. I mean, say set. You just set state. Sometimes it is preferable. Yeah, it is always better to write. Yeah, if some state is decided on the based on the previous state, it's always better to have the syntax. This is also okay, but we have seen where this will not work always. Okay, moving on. So now we have decided who is going to handle. I mean, sorry, who is the active player. Okay, now it comes to handling the event. Yeah. So user now will click on one of the thing. Then, so we have to do a handle click event. Correct? He will click on the board. Then what? What will you do? He has clicked on the board. How will you record this particular cell is X, this particular cell is O? How will you record? Where will you record? Yeah, if at all I click on a cell, then you will based on whichever player. Let's say now the active player is X, then you will place X in this. If the active player is O or 0, accordingly you will place that particular cell content here. But the way we have designed a cell, it takes from props. So it means what? Cell does not store its own value. It just receives from somebody has to give what is X or 0. That's all correct. So then it has to be, we should store, we should record, we should basically store the full, state of the board actually. The present state of the board should be saved. So one of the option I have is yes. Again I can go for what? Having a use state where my use state now it's not just simple array, rather it is array of array. Yes or no? And for every click event, I'm not just going to call simply handle click. Instead, I'm going to also get, yeah, you can think of, I'm going to get, so now I need two indexes actually. One is I would like to understand, so I would like to design these cells in such a way that this is 0 comma 0. Correct? This is 0 comma 1. So on. This is 2 comma 2. Isn't it? And this is what? 2 comma 1. So now this matrix can be represented as a multi-dimensional matrix, array. Are you able to follow what I'm saying? I'm able to, keep things as multi-dimensional array. Yes, JavaScript support multi-dimensional array. Now for every click, I also would like to get which cell the user has clicked. Now let's say he clicks on 0 comma 0. What I should do? In the handle click, I should be getting that exact information. I should get, okay, I should get, okay, which is the I value. Yeah. So in the handle click, along with the event, maybe I don't need a event details now. Let's say, yeah, I don't need a event details. I should get what? I comma j. Should get additional information. Why do I need that? That corresponding cell only I would like to update in the set state, isn't it? Whenever I'm calling set state, you know that how we can update set state arrays actually. Yeah, we have worked with setting a state when my state is actually arrays. When state is object, we have learned this concept. Now I should update that corresponding I and j value. Yeah, as a condition, we have to check if it is already set to something. We should set, yeah, we should have a condition. We should do a set if and only if that cell is empty. Correct? Otherwise, we should not update it. Correct? Assume user already clicked on something and it is marked X. Can I just go ahead again and update to 0? Should not be allowed. Correct? That's why that check. If that current cell is empty, where is that cell information? It is part of use state. How is that use state actually modeled? Yeah, this full matrix. Tell me, tell me anything which we have not discussed, anything, any concept which we don't know. So far, I've covered maybe 6 to 7 points. There's nothing actually. So everything we know. It's just that we are not able to visualize how I can apply my current learning concepts into solving this particular game. Anything else we have to do for the game to work now? Tell me. Anything else we are supposed to do? Yes. What else we have to do? We have to be able to publish. Okay. Yeah. One thing is calculating, calculating if the game is over. Right? I have to determine based on the move whether game is over. If any of the player is okay. So there is a possibility, right? Yeah. So one of the player is going to win. What is other possibility? There's only other possibility is draw. Correct? If the game is not over, what? If the game is not over, what? So I can write some utility function. Is game over? If not, okay. If not, continue the game, right? You can allow user to place, click on the cell. Yeah, yeah. There can be one function where you can write check, check draw. Yeah, every click you should check whether it is draw or not. Every click you should check. Yeah, anyone has one actually. So that's again kind of is game over. Yeah, again, that has some logic. That has some logic associated with this game, and that you all know. Yeah, if any of the three cells, either horizontal or vertical, if they are marked same, then that corresponding player is one. So you'll have to announce the result. Okay, saying okay, now it is over, game over. Then what? If game is over or game is drawn, yeah, what did we saw? We saw choose. Choose what? Restart the game. isn't it? So now tell me anything which we have not handled part of this game. Anything which is not clear. Yeah, we should write some function. We should write some custom logic, which is we have to iterate through each of the array element to determine whether is the game over or is it draw. Let's talk actually. Do you see any other scenario, anything which you have not handled part of this game? Let's say restart. What will you do? Tell me if you click on restart, what will you do? Tell me.
Everything it will delete. It will restart.
Yeah, reinitialize. Correct. Reinitialize the state. Reinitialize the game board or game state actually. So we have okay. So we have yeah we'll have to initialize this particular state to back to initial value. Now this is using simple. Yeah, there are multiple ways to implement it. People may be having different easy ways to do it. This is one of the way we can think of now. I'm not saying this is the best way. This is the only way. No, you can think of different ways and different ways to implement it. Now this is one of the way we can just think of. Can we improve it something? Can we do an improvement here in handling the state? It's I am seeing it's again array of thing. And if at all I have to handle this full logic within the component, it is going to be a bit complex, correct? Also, it doesn't look that neat. So what we have learned what is called as, we can handle this kind of complex state update using what? Use reducer. Yes or no? Yeah, we can model this particular handling and setting, resetting everything. What of a use reducer? What is that we have learned using use reducer? We know that the state handling within the component it becomes sometimes too complex to handle, and it is too much of work to be done within the component scope. No, let us make the component simple. Let us make the component you know as simple as possible, and we can extract the business logic into a separate function, into totally new function, and this has initial state as well. And then whenever there is an each move, then we can just dispatch the event. That's what we have learned. Yes or no? Yeah, so this is another concept. Now you do like this, implement it, do it using use state only. One version you use state only. That's what you know. But later you think, is there any optimization? So let us see how we can use reducer. Since I've learned this concept, let me see if I can how I can implement this to this problem use reducer. Yes, it is possible using use reducer also. You can slowly think about it and you will implement it. Yeah, you might succeed, you might have some issues. At the end, you will know whether it works or not. You will again, it will be a test for you yourself whether I can do this particular game. I mean, this particular feature to in what case use reducer will work, in what case use state will work. So like this, you should start applying to any of the problem which is given. Yeah, all the concept that you have learned. See now with this, you're almost getting all the concepts. Yeah, except that, yeah, if you think even bigger, we can even, you know, understand about the context also. We can see if context is also possible. Now tell me what is the context? I'm seeing one very good information here in context. Tell me what is the context? I'm able to think of something into the context. Yeah, active player can be a context, correct? Isn't it? Active player, I can put that in the context. Yeah. So is game over? I would like to see an information that also I can put it in a context. Maybe instead of is game over, I can also think, yeah, on every handle click, I should actually dispatch, correct? I should update. Yes or no? Yeah, that maybe that can also go in as part of use reducer. Yeah, use reducer, I mean to say. So guys, yeah, it's very important. You should give a try. If you don't know this game, that's a different story. You know this, you know what it is. On the other side, you know what are the syntax. Now you should connect these two dots. You should learn to connect these dots. Otherwise, you will not be able to build on top of this. You will not be able to learn new concepts. And what is the point in learning n number of concepts where you cannot even apply them? And again, problem solving is not, not going to happen. Like, it takes some time. It needs some thinking actually. Yes, just think. Start learning like, okay, how to think in React. This is also very important. How do I solve this in React? That's a problem. And for this, you should remember and recall that you have learned so many concepts like this. And see which one is a close fit. Okay, so now I've explained this. Yeah. So you guys can actually do this problem now. You guys can try this problem now. And now, okay, yeah, you start writing your code. I need not have to explain you, okay, this is a code, this is how it looks like. No, you write. It's okay. You'll get stuck somewhere. That's also okay. Because you are in the learning phase. Yeah. So is it clear? So this is how we can think of implementing tic-tac toy game. Yeah, or zeros and ones game. People say X O X game. So there are so many different names actually. Again, there are so many different ways to implement it. But then how you can think of solving this? Yeah, I think we discussed some of the things. So we know these many things, and through that we can solve this game. All right, yeah. So I'll see. Yeah. So once you're done, yes, share your example. Share your code. Okay, how you have done. Okay, any question on